What's up guys, how's it going? We are back with more New World, and today we're going to be covering leveling those weapon mastery points, covering some of the awesome ways in which you can get your weapons leveled up super quickly. In total there are going to be 19 possible perk points to earn, and these can actually make a huge difference to how your weapon behaves and its damage output. Many passives, so your weapons and sort of extra abilities, are going to be adding stuns, things like root, which are crucial to how your weapon is going to be performing, so it's super important to get them leveled up quickly. In New World there are currently two ways in which you can really do this. You can do it through PvP, or you can do it through Elite Zones. I guess the PvP side is pretty self-explanatory. You get rewards for killing other players. The longer the enemy player has been flagged for, the greater the rewards that you are going to be getting. It can actually be some really very decent weapon XP, plus you'll also be getting a bit of faction rewards and sort of ordinary leveling XP. But of course, PvP isn't for everyone. Personally, I've got to say I quite like the PvP side, it's just the dying that I'm not really quite so keen on. So this leaves us with Elite Zones. You can find Elite Zones in pretty much every region except for a few of the starting ones, although Monarch's Bluff actually has one called Deadman's Cove, which is actually one of the more popular low level ones. If you're struggling though to locate any of these Elite Zones for your level, then I strongly recommend you check out New World Map. I recommend it in almost every video, and it is an absolutely awesome tool that is so powerful when it comes to locating stuff in New World, and you can quickly see the locations and recommended levels of the Elite Zones. This kind of leads us on to another point though, and that is group sizes. Realistically, you want a minimum of 3 with a healer and a tank, but it can be awesome fun just to smash through these open world dungeons with groups of like 10 players, just steamroll through the enemies and collecting the experience rapidly. You will find that weapon experience really does start to come in very fast, and you can smash through the early level mastery points super quickly. It can also actually be a half decent source of just flat out XP leveling. Monster XP will of course vary a little bit by Elite Zone, but you can almost expect to get around 100 experience points per monster. Now it is obviously important to make sure that you are targeting Elite Zones that are suitable for your level. For example, between sort of level 20 to level 30, maybe 35, Deadman's Cove is going to be a great Elite Zone for you to run. But once you're up into the 40s, the experience is going to be starting to feel pretty low as it starts to drop off, and targeting somewhere else like maybe Perryvale in Weaver's Fen, or maybe moving on to Brightwood Isle in, well, Brightwood, would be a more suitable choice for you as a target Elite Zone to run. Just remember though that in New World, once an enemy is over 10 levels higher than you, he will insta-kill you. You see, you basically have a skull above his head rather than a level, and he will not knock you down. So if you are tagging along with a higher level group, you'll have to be super careful, particularly when they're dragging in large numbers of the trash mobs. Otherwise you'll find yourself back in the region's starting city. These Elite Zones can also be used for gear farming, as not only will you find Elite Zone specific chests, which, as a side note by the way, only respawn once every 24 hours. So if it is the chest specifically that you are after, then you can realistically only run these zones once per day. But also it's the monsters and specifically the bosses that have some really fantastic drops to come. So if you're looking for specific tier weapons, stuff that's going to carry you through to the next leveling, then it can be well worth running these. These are obviously certainly zones that you want to be wearing your luck gear if you haven't already. You will also sometimes bump into other groups during these Elite Zone runs, and it can get a little bit hectic if you've got 30 players all sort of rushing around, as you may sort of struggle to get your hits in on some of these mobs. If you're just gear farming, it might be worth thinking about using something like a life staff, just so you can get those hits in, as the shots pass through friendly players, so it's much easier to get your hits on the enemies. But for most of us, and myself included, we are doing these Elite Zones to level specific weapons, so you've just got to get stuck into the fight and try and get your hits in. And while we're mentioning about leveling weapons, obviously if you switch weapon during the fight, you know, for example I'm here using musket and spear, If I switch from my spear to my musket, then obviously it splits the weapon XP between the two weapons. If I just stick to my spear, then that's going to be getting 100% of the kill experience. And that is the essence of leveling your weapons. You want to be in groups of 5 or maybe 10 and just roll through these areas. It is all about speed, grouping up the mobs, getting the tank to take aggro, and using the DPS to just knock them down. That's really when the weapon levels start to go super quickly. But anyway, that's all I wanted to really cover in the video. Just the fact that weapon level is a critical part of New World, and it can take a very long time to max out weapons just doing the quests, because while you'll be getting character experience, you won't be getting all that much weapon mastery experience. Getting stuck into these elite zones is a fantastic way of smashing those weapon mastery points. Any questions or comments about this, please do let me know down below, and of course subscribe to the channel as we have lots more New World content on the way. Thanks for watching guys, and I shall see you guys all on the next one.